Well, it's been quite the weekend thus far. On our way to, we were supposed to play baseball yesterday. Ollie was supposed to play baseball yesterday, and it got rained out. So he got to hang out with his team and meet his team. But this will be his first game ever with this team. So excited to see what's going to take place today. Didn't get to do a whole lot. Oh, I was supposed to drop those checks off. Didn't get to do a whole lot with the horses also, as it was pouring rain on Saturday morning. But that was fine. The timeline is more of a school, a number of them off the gate Wednesday, because Pickpocket, Arson, and what looks like Activation may be headed for Oak Grove. Now, Lonely Lakewood was on that list, but I just think he might need a little work behind the gate. He wanders still a little bit. I'm very eager to see how the shoeing is going to work. The shoeing change we gave him is going to work. When I trained him at the farm the other day, I trained him in 2.7 and a bit. I thought he trained really well, which is a big mile. It's probably a mile and 2.2 at Mohawk. So I trained him in 2.7, wandering a little bit just because he was so green, and I just don't know if he's got his head in the game, where Activation seems to have it all put together. Now, to be fair to Activation and Lonely Lakewood, neither of them won any part of Pickpocket just yet. He is completely dialed in, understands his work very, very well, and is ready to rock. But it would be nice to get some work into both of those colts down there. So I think as we talk right now, probably going to school Activation and Pickpocket off the car on Wednesday, I believe Wednesday, in probably 2.3, 2.4, and likely going to go a mile in 2 minutes with 2 minutes or 2.1 with Arson, the other horse, going to Kentucky. So as of right now, we have three. Unfortunately, Lover's Play won't be able to make it for Oak Grove. She had a minor injury. Well, it wasn't super minor. I mean, she had a pretty good cut on the inside and outside of her pasture. It looks like she kicked the wall or maybe got cast also. I don't know. You know, my wife and I were talking about it the other day, and it just passed through my mind that, geez, there's two horses that I have a lot of respect for in 1 week. Can you just tell Mommy that I'm doing a video? Two horses I have a lot of respect for that got cast. I'm like, geez, so something we could be or should be doing differently. And I had to remind myself that there was 55 other horses at Northfield Park that didn't get cast. So and there were a couple other horses that did throughout the winter, but they were fine. Little scrapes and scratches on them, and they were perfectly fine. So, it's a tough thing to do when we look at the injuries of whether it be Carter Michael Dio, who had a little line in his sesamoid the other day. He's going to need a month or 6 weeks off, then in the pool for a few weeks, but he'll heal. The Cowboy injury was so tough to take, and that could end up costing him his 2023 season. And it was really hard for a horse that was training down great, didn't appear to have any issues, and then got cast and it stuck and ended up hurting himself. That's a tough one to take. And Lover's Play, obviously a much lesser situation, but a similar storyline. And those things are hard to do. And then the more athletic injuries, as I said, Carter Michael Dio, but obviously no chance in Hill, that tiny little tear in his left hind suspension. Those are things we see, right? We see, and I know people hear them, and I get down when I hear them. It's so upsetting and depressing and saddening for me when I hear them, but then I have to fall back on other horses that did recover, right? People forget that Yes did have a tear in his left hind suspension before he came back good. He was fine after that. No Free Lunch also had an issue. He came back good. Now, he's a little sick. He was supposed to qualify a week and a half ago, or school, and then he gets sick. Harry said he knuckled over left hind and ended up bruising his ankle. He's fine now. He's been in 210, but here's a horse that has paced in 49 at least once or twice, if not multiple times, since coming back from those injuries. So he made it back. And then obviously, when you look at bone structural issues, here's our Cintrix broke his coffin bone twice in other stables, but did do it. And we had also, I think, No Free Lunch had a line in his foot. I know White Tiger did when he was young. How the Hell had two really, really, really bad knees when they operated on them. horse qualified good, and although you haven't seen that 55 speed come back yet, it will. He's sounder now, and as he gets stronger and stronger and stronger, you will see those miles come back again. So these injuries are no different than my broken wrist or the torn ligaments in my other one, my broken elbow or shoulder, James's broken collarbone. These are things that happen that well, James's the collarbone won't heal that good, but he's been the O'Brien Award winner 2 years in a row with a broken collarbone, so I think he'll be okay. But most of these injuries will heal, right? And I think that's important to talk about. So I didn't really want to talk about the injuries, but the flip side of those is that we have had horses that have been injured that have come back quite well. So horses can recover from these injuries, whether they be minor or major. It just takes time. You just have to take your time. So I did want to talk about all the other horses that are doing really, really well right now. Just a quick brief overlay of last week. Oak Grove was good. Per Lucky was fourth, but a big mile from him with good horses. Trotted 53-1 or 53-2. Thought Landing Strip raced adequately, trotting in 56-1, finishing third, but beaten by two horses that looked like they were going to beat him. You know, he raced pretty good. He did what he could do. And then, you know, to see Era of Love look so good, and even the other filly, Stay Special, looked so good. A good run for Eric and Kathy down in Kentucky. Really, really impressed with their work down there. And then even as we bounce horses around a little bit, again, Mark and Melissa Beckwith, you know, were way out in front of this horse being a little bit sick, getting his blood, being on top of it, and having the horse just race so good. If they hadn't have been so on top of that stuff, it most definitely would have been a much more different outcome. And very, very thankful and always impressed with the professionalism of our affiliate trainers, and they did a great job there. Patrick DePrano, a lot of people ask him what happened. We all knew that something was up, right? And I know Gary had said, "Oh, is it AFib?" No, AFib is when you get beat 9 million lengths and look terrible. This wasn't AFib. This was just a minor horse being a little bit sick. He did tie up a little bit. His GGT, his liver, was exceedingly high also. So not one, not two, but three very, very good reasons to maybe throw a clunker of a race in. And when you can be fourth pace 51-4, come 29 in a piece, and still call it a clunker, you know you got yourself a pretty good horse. So Patrick will bounce back quite well. Sintra seems just still a little bit flat as he makes his way back up through the classes. He's not horrible by any means. 15 apiece, 27 on the end last week. Finished fourth, beat a length last night, probably in 52 on a freezing cold night. Obviously, we were in Ohio and had a great day yesterday. Amy had messaged me, had actually video called me with Addie. Addie had a winter hat on. She said it was freezing yesterday at Mohawk. So tough racing there. Locatelli again finding his best foot. He's, you know, when he slides a bit, he looks okay in the free-for-all, which again, pretty good horse. So Locatelli looking to get back on track. He's been racing well. He won the final of the New Holland. He has his moments, and I'm sure he'll bounce back well. I know that as much as we love Locatelli, I get the sense that Harry thinks it looks like money has got even a brighter future in mind. Harry has been extremely enamored with this horse, even more so. Harry's a real cool customer when it comes to the horses, and likes to take everything in a laid-back approach, but I get the sense that he feels there's something much, much bigger with Looks Like Money, and I'm eager to see how that plays out, because Harry's a good judge of horse flesh also, and I know that he really loves Looks Like Money. You know, those are some of the horses. We've already had a great start to the season, as I said, with Spitfire. We don't talk about enough More Than You Know. That might be the Stallion Series, but he looked ultra impressive in the Stallion Series last week, or 2 weeks ago, when Yannick won with him. And then for Tim just to come back, put him in an overnight. For More Than You Know to come first over him in 50-4 was a little bit shocking to me. Sitting in the 2-hole behind a horse that was going fast but looking to get beat, and have him pounce on him with the earplugs in, driving away. Not shocking. To have him come first over and deal with those horses and drive away from them, that was something else. An impressive start to the season for More Than You Know. He has looked absolutely amazing. And, you know, he started great. So did Swinging Senorita, 2nd at 54 to a colt the other day in an overnight. She looked good. there is a Dave and Buster's there. Good eye, Ollie. And then Coupe de Ville, although she hasn't got to the stature of Swinging Senorita, Spitfire Overseas, or even More Than You Know yet, I guess similar as far as what they're doing. Coupe de Ville, a lot more question marks surround her than any of our other horses. Yeah, sure, we want to see how good Spitfire is. We know he's good. We know he's a really good horse. How good, we're going to see soon enough. But we have a sneaky suspicion of how good he is, right? Same as, Crantini or Brace. Brace for Landing showed that flash the other day. I was wrong. His last half was not 54-2. It was 53-2. Last quarter in 26-3. So the speed is coming. And for a horse that rarely makes a break, I'm not worried about Brace for Landing. My only concern with him is his belly. He's not a big boy. Very immature looking colt, but very, very fast. All those horses we know are fast. We still don't know what Coupe de Ville is. We know she's a great Buckeye filly and she'll likely stay in there. Is she anything else? Because if we're just going to look at speed, which you never should do, but let's just play devil's advocate for a minute. She was a winner in 56-1 first over and looked as impressive as you could look that night at Northfield Park. Swinging Senorita is a player in the Sire Stake division. She's a 55 trotter right now. So speed-wise, you're looking at 5 lengths difference, but in actuality, you're looking at still a football field difference for them just yet. But man, a wide berth is what I'm meaning to say. But we don't know where Coupe de Ville starts and ends just yet. This is a kind of small filly that's starting to put weight on, starting to put muscle on over her flank and her back end. And I could see this filly becoming more, look at her sister, look at her family. This is a good horse. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Coupe de Ville over the next little while. Very impressed with her. Smoking Hot Irish Girl, again, being overshadowed, I guess, by Coupe de Ville right now, but continues to move forward and move forward and move forward. And I think there's a nice horse lurking in there also. Impressive. And then again, we don't talk a lot about Tactical Mounds. The mile she went last night in a muddy track, but she looked good. She looked good, and I think Megan and Scotty got her going in the right direction. She certainly did a great week with Megan, and Scotty did a great job driving her. Just looked great. And again, I keep circling back to Spitfire. Both Crantini and Spitfire are in to go together on Monday, I believe. Mark is going to drive Spitfire. Now, Mark had saddled with Spitfire last year when Spitfire maybe wasn't at his best in the final of the PA Sires, but I think Mark is going to see a much different Spitfire Overseas on Monday. I know that Jim Campbell's good horse is in there, but I'm going to tell you one thing. Spitfire Overseas was not on the top of his game the other day in Plain Ridge and still raced huge. I think Spitfire Overseas could come up with a massive mile on Monday, and I love Crantini. I don't know if he wants any part of Spitfire Overseas right now. In that regard, James might be right. I think he's missed his mark maybe with Brace, but in fairness to James and everybody else, Brace doesn't look. If you lined all those horses up and said, okay, I want you to tell me one that could trot a half in 53, it would not be Brace for Landing that you pick. I think his very best races will be in the future, and there's nothing we can do to speed up his maturity. He just has to grow up. And mentally, he's got it figured out. I'm not worried about that. Physically, he's just got to mature. And it takes time. And I think with Brace for Landing, his best races lay in front of him for sure. Hopefully, starting this June would be great. But the last half, mathematically, for his mile the other day was pretty incredible. And I'd like to see him put... And it's not like he doesn't have any mental faults where, okay, yeah, he came big last half because he made a break and then he chased down the field. No, he'll do his work. He's a good horse in that regard and doesn't make many breaks, and it didn't take us long to get to the bottom of what exactly happened. Got a little pacey, a little out of gear, and couldn't catch himself. Now, his feet were bothering him a little bit, which is look at the horse that raced last night against James's Colt. James's Colt was huge, a hasty bid, raced great, and he drove him good, but it looked like Tuscan Prince was gone, right? And Tuscan Prince swung to the pace coming out of the turn. Now, as I said in an earlier video, there's usually 3 things that will have a horse swing to the pace. Feet, lameness, but more particularly feet. If their feet are sore, they will, or they're more apt to. Stifles are bothering them, they will, and if they're tying up, they will. It looked to me last night, just by his gait and his performance, that maybe it was feet. I don't know, but I don't know anything about the horse, so it's unfair for me to say. But those three things are usually the leading causes for horses to do that. So when we look at what's going on with the stable, we had another good week. Some really interesting, promising showings. I forgot to talk about Oakwood Cowboy was a winner at Saratoga. Haunted Houses and him are going to be racing, I believe, Monday in Plainridge. So I apologize. Every week I get a note from somebody saying, hey, you didn't talk about so-and-so. You didn't talk about this horse enough or that horse enough. And, you know, I'm only human. I say that all the time because I am. Don't know if you're aware of that. But I'm going to talk about the things that jump off the page to me, right? And those are horses that have been racing good, or a horse that maybe impressed me this week. The 2-year-olds we could talk about for hours and hours. I mean, Pickpocket and Arson look ready to rock. I'm interested. I myself have not sat behind Activation in quite a while. And somebody said, why can't Affection go to Kentucky? That's a great question. That is a great question. You know why Affection can't go is because her first Sire Stake race lands on July the 1st. And that is 3 days before the final in Kentucky. So shipping her all the way down to Kentucky to only ship her back to go to Pennsylvania seems a little senseless. So we'll just focus on Pennsylvania to start with her. Where on the other side, Dr. Rucker said he wasn't that interested in Pennsylvania. And Oak Grove, I thought, might be a little bit early. Oh, was that my exit? It was. Oak Grove was going to be a little bit early for... I missed our thing. Put another couple of minutes on. No big deal. How far away are we, honey? We are... Well, we're not long far at all. 12:01. We're only 15 minutes away. Wouldn't that be cool? Look at that place.
That's where the Bison's place.
It's a ballpark. Look at it. Isn't that cool? Mercy Health Ballpark. It's a Little League park. It looks like a Major League park, but it's Little League. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm actually glad I missed our exit. So yeah, Activation, I haven't actually sat behind that horse yet at all. But I've seen him go, and he's an impressive looking horse. Now, I know what Pickpocket can do. I think Pickpocket is as good a horse as we've had at this point in the year for quite a while. And high hopes hanging on this guy. The speed's already been there. There's no reason to believe there isn't lots behind it. Probably going to go a mile in 2.3 with him this week. Qualify him probably in 2.1 in Northfield on the 2nd. And then we'll either train him once more, or I'm not going to send him down quite a ways out. I know that a lot of people believe that they need time to get acclimated. Send them 2 weeks before. No, it's hot as a bugger in Kentucky. We did this with Una Madonna last year, and it certainly worked out well for us. She shipped down literally 2 days or the day before even on a long ship. But it was just too hot in Kentucky at the time, and I have no interest in getting the horses down there 9-10 days before. We're going to get the horses down there probably going to get the horses down there maybe about 3 days before. Would be fine with me. So right now, as it stands, it looks like Pickpocket is going down, Arson is going down, and what looks like could be Activation. There's a bit of a coin flip situation I had where I thought that maybe it was going to be Lonely Lakewood, as I said a couple of minutes ago, but it just seems to me that he needs a little more work into him. Now, maybe that will change when we get to Grand River. We'll see. But as of right now, I can say out loud that I believe that it will be those three horses. We don't have any trotting fillies to go down there. I'm not sending Affection down there. Yeah, that's exactly where we are, Sheffield. You're right. You're supposed to take that exit back there, but then we would have missed that really cool ballpark. What's that? You're supposed to what? I can't hear you. Ollie, that's a no, and I told you. Anyway, that's about it for the week. Yes, I mean, I could talk about the 2-year-olds and how they've been going and how impressed I was with them and how they looked. I could talk about the 3-year-olds, but really at this point, they're all doing the talking for me, right? The 3-year-olds are doing their work on the track and getting close to going, getting close to really starting to rev up. The 3-year-old season starting in Ontario and Pennsylvania. Everything is going according to plan. And as far as the 2-year-olds, I think next week will be a pretty 2-year-old heavy video to talk about when we have a number of horses going behind the gate on schooling days in Ohio, the open house at Grand River next Saturday, and just a lot going on, and a lot even more for me is next Saturday. Ollie's back in Ohio for a ball tournament in Sandusky. That should be a lot of
What do you
fun.
mean that the tournament is at a water?
The tournament is literally at a water park.
What do you mean?
I think in the most literal sense of the word, I think it's pretty clear. There's a ball tournament and a ball diamond or 2 or 3 that's attached to a water park. There. So it should be a lot of fun. This is a really exciting time of the year for me and my family, and obviously likely a really exciting time of the year for you also. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. It was a good weekend. The weather is beautiful. Ollie's about to play baseball. Might even give everybody an update on the way home, because I haven't given anybody an update on Saturday yet. There wasn't a ton to talk about, but maybe I will on my way back. But for right now, your opening is done. Everything is in order. All the horses seem to be good and working well. And we are now moments from the ball field here in, I believe it's Sheffield, Ohio. Take care.